Thank you for joining this lesson. We're going to discuss grade 9 mathematics at term 1 and term exam, which will help us to prepare for the Kjsea 2025 exam. So remember to subscribe to this platform and also to share with your friends. We can begin with number 1, which is in section A. We will do all the questions. Even on the multiple choices questions, we're going to discuss even the workings. So everything is going to be displayed. The questions are clearly seen. So we're going to work out everything bit by bit. As we learn this program, I would like to invite my followers to my program here, whereby you can access airtime or any network from your M-Pesa by just going to the M-Pesa menu, Lipa na M-Pesa option. Then there is the pay bill number now, whereby you enter the business number 737356. Then the account number is the phone number that you'd like to purchase airtime for. This can be your Safaricom line, Airtel line, or the Telcom line. It can also be the number of your friend if you intend to purchase some airtime for them. So please utilize this facility. Once you go through that process, the airtime is going to reflect instantly. So please follow up with that program and also invite friends to the same. Now, looking at these questions and starting from number 1, we are told which of the following is an integer. So first, a learner should understand what an integer is. So integers are whole numbers, both positive and negative, 0 included. So 0 is also an integer. That is what learners should know. Therefore, in the list of integers, we can only eliminate decimals and fractions. Decimals and fractions. Whole numbers, 0 included, are integers. So we eliminate A, we eliminate B, because these are decimal, B is a fraction, and D is also a decimal. So we remain with C only, and that becomes our correct answer. It's a negative number, but it's a whole number anyway. It's not a decimal, it's not a fraction. In part 2, we're taught to work out -8 plus -2. So we're supposed to know that this is on integers again, addition and subtractions of integers. It's good for you to know when a positive follows a negative, we usually get a negative. Plus minus, we get a negative. So this is a -8, then -2. And a learner can even go to the number line. Just draw a simple number line. A simple number line for yourself, like that. Then on this number line, assuming now we are at 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Then we have let me extend it to the left-hand side, whereby we can talk of -8, -9, and -10. So we are already at -8. So this is where -8 is. Then now we are moving 2 steps to the left because we have a -2. So 2 steps means 1, 2. So we find ourselves at -10. And you see, the answer is already at A, -10. So that is the value. We again have number 3, which is still on BODMAS. Evaluate 324 divided by, this one is divide by 18, then minus 2 plus 7 plus 4 multiplied by a -2. So according to BODMAS, we're supposed to work out what is in brackets first. So we begin with brackets. Therefore, we'll have our 3 24 divided by 18 there, then minus. Now, inside the brackets, we have 2 plus 7, and that gives us 9. Then we have to add 4 multiplied by a negative 2. We continue working out. We don't have off in this case, but we have division. So on division, we will have to take 324 and we divide it by 18. So 324 divided by 18 gives us 18. Then now we have to subtract 9 and we add 4 multiplied by negative 2. Then the next to be multiplication. So 18 minus 9. Then where are we having multiplication? At 4 by negative 2. So 4 times negative 2 will give us a negative 8. So at the end of the day now, we will be having 18. We subtract 9. Then we subtract again 8. So 18 minus 9 will give us 9. Then 9 minus 8 will give us 1. So the final answer is found at D, which is 1. That is our number 3. Let's look at number 4. Rollo wanted to divide his 300 hectares of land into m hectares pieces for his sons. If every son was to receive 60 hectares of land or 60 hectares each, what is the value of m? So Rollo wants to divide 300 into m portions. So we divide by m and we're supposed to get 60. That is what you're supposed to know. 300 divided by m portions, we get 60 hectares each portion. Therefore here, we can work out 60 by m after cross multiplication equals to 300. So that the value of m now becomes 300 out of 60. And the value of m is going to become, when we simplify this, we get 5. So the answer 5 is found in part B that way. Number 5. Complete the sequence below by determining the next 2 numbers in the pattern. The first one, let me make it clear. I know the first page is not very clear, but going to the next, everything will be very visible. So we are only remaining with these 2 questions, whereby we will struggle a little bit to see what has been printed there. This is 1 out of 8, 1 out of 27, 1 out of 64. So when you look at this, there is a pattern being followed, and that is, in the first case, half has been raised to power 3. And in the second, a third has been raised to power 3. In the third term, 1 out of 4, which is a quarter, has also been cubed, which means going forward, we need 1 over 5, and we also cube. Then we take 1 out of 6, and we also cube. Therefore, 1 out of 5 cubed will be 1 out of 125, as seen there. And 1 out of 6 raised to power 3 will be 1 out of 216, again as seen here. So the answer becomes part A. So if there was a third term, it would have been 1 over 7 raised to power 3. So it's good as you answer a question on sequences or even series, you understand what is happening in a given sequence. Just discover the pattern. Just discover the pattern and you shall find yourself on the safe side. Number 6, the cube below us a volume of 512. What is the length of one side of the cube? So the concern here is, how do we get volume? We just need to get a side squared, or length times length times length, or length times width times height. Yet length, width, and height are also equal. Now that they are equal to 3 of them, we can use one unknown to represent all of them. Therefore, the volume of 512 is equivalent to length raised to power 3. That means the value of the length can be determined when we take the third root of 512. And this one, again, because the question is open, you can even use a calculator to extract the third root of 512. This is going to exactly be 8 centimeters. Yeah. So 8 centimeters, option C. 8 centimeters. Let's get to number 7 now. Using the factor method, find the cube root of 2,197. Therefore, for us to use factor method, whether we are finding cube roots or square roots, we are supposed to factorize a number into the respective prime factors. Therefore, looking at 2197, and we start factorizing, this number is not divisible by 2, and 2 is our least prime factor. It is also not divisible by 3, which is our next prime factor. This number, again, is not divisible by 5. It is also not divisible by 7, and it is also not divisible by 11. Therefore, the least prime factor, which can divide 2197, is only 13. So when we divide by 13, we get 169. So we go again by 13, and this becomes 13. Therefore, 2197 is equivalent to 13 by 13 by 13. So for us to obtain cube root, after expressing a number into its prime factors, we're supposed to pick one common factor out of a group of every 3. So out of these 3, we only pick 13. Therefore, 13 becomes our cube root. And it is found in part D. So the answer was D in this particular case. Now, part 8, we are taught to express 10 power 5 multiplied by 10 power negative 2 in standard form. Therefore, remember these bases are the same, and there is a law of indices that says, in case we have 2 bases which have been multiplied, but they are raised to different indices, then we should solve them by taking the base, then we add the indices. Applying the same to what has been provided, then it will be 10 raised to power 5 plus a negative 2. This will take us to 10 power 3. So the answer is 10 power 3, which has been written in index form. But now, if we were to follow these instructions completely, then we would have written it in standard form, such that this becomes 1.0 times 10 to the power of 3. So this is standard form now. But what they have expressed here is 10 power 3, which is the answer in index form. Number 9. A farmer hired 5 workers who completed the task given in 8 days. How many days would it have taken to complete the task if the workers were 10? So this is the on rates of work, compound proportions, and rates of work. When you talk about rates of work, it means now we can relate the number of workers here and the time taken. So if we write workers here, then the time taken in days, we say 5 workers are taking 8 days. What about 10 workers? In other words, we are increasing the number of workers. Do we expect the time taken to complete the same piece of work to increase or decrease? Definitely, we would expect the number of days taken to go down as we increase the number of men to work this particular piece. Therefore, now we are going to work out 8 and 8, which is the number of days, will be affected by the ratio of men such that we ensure that we decrease it. So to decrease 8 in the ratio of 5:10 means 5 over 10. So this will give us exactly 4, because we'll have 40 over 10, which is 4. So 8 men will require 4 days that way. Again, on rates, number 10, a pump can fill a tank in 4 hours, while a second pump takes 6 hours. This means to fill the same tank. If both pumps work together, how long will they take to fill the tank? So according to rates of work, we will say that, okay, let me call the first one just first. We call it first pump. The first one is working for 4 hours when it is working alone. 4 hours to complete filling the tank, which means in 1 hour, it fills a quarter. A quarter in 1 hour. Yeah. So that it may require 4 hours, then it means per hour, it is filling a quarter. The next hour, a quarter. The other hour, a quarter. Then finally, a quarter. And the second one, which is taking 6 hours, which is now the second pump, it means that this pump is working at a rate of 1 out of 6 of the tank in 1 hour. Yeah, 1 over 6 of the tank in 1 hour when working alone. What about when they work together now? First and second tank, a quarter plus a sixth. This is in 1 hour. A quarter plus a sixth in 1 hour, they are going to fill 5 out of 12 of the tank. They will fill 5 over 12 of the tank. 5 over 12 of the tank, which means if they work this fraction in 1 hour, then they are going to take, we are saying 5 proportions usually take 1 hour. What about the total 12 proportions? Because we are saying 5 over 12 of the tank will be filled in 1 hour. So 5 proportions out of 12 proportions of the tank are filled in 1 hour. What about the 12 proportions, which is the total capacity of the tank? To be 12 by 1 out of 5. 12 out of 5 is the same as 2.4 hours. 2.4 hours. Yeah, 2.4 hours. So that is it. After number 10, we can check what 11 has. The sum of 6,000 Kenya shillings is divided among A, B, and C in the ratio 2:3:5. How much does B get? So these are proportions. We are assuming there are individuals who are sharing this money, or even companies or whoever, but they have been named A, B, and C. So we have 3 students here. Student A will get 2 proportions. Student B will get 3 proportions, and student C will get 5. I'm assuming the ratios are respectively in the order in which they have been mentioned. So now we need to calculate how much B is going to get. So B is taking 3 proportions, but how many proportions are we having here? Total proportions. Total proportions are 2 plus 3 plus 5, giving us 10. So 10 proportions is equivalent to 6,000, the total amount of money. What about the 3 proportions, which will be received by B. So it will be 3 by 6,000 divided by 10. This will be 600 by 3, which is 1,800. Therefore, the correct answer here is exactly D, the that way. Look at number 12. A pole is cut into 3 parts in the ratio 4:5:6. If the shortest piece is 8 meters, what is the total length of the pole? What is the total length of the pole? This one can be done in several ways. One, we can ask ourselves, the shortest piece, definitely it means this 8 meters is corresponding to the smallest, corresponding with the smallest proportion, which is a 4. Therefore, 4 proportions are equivalent to 8 meters. What about the total proportions, which are 4 plus 5 plus 6? 4 plus 5 is 9. Then plus 6, we get 15. So 4 proportions are equal to 8 meters of length. What about the 15 proportions? So it will be 8 by 15 out of 4. And this is exactly going to be 30. So the total length is 30 meters. Alternatively, somebody can say 4 proportions are equal to 8 meters. What about 5 proportions? We get that length, which is going to be 12. Then, which is going to be 10, sorry. Then we say again, if 4 proportions are equal to 8 meters, what about 6 proportions? We calculate and get 12. Then we say now total length is going to be 10 plus 12 plus 8. We just add up all of them. But this one now outstands them. It becomes the best approach and the easiest approach. The right answer becoming part A. Then there is a number 13 here, which is on matrices. Identify the order of matrix 3, 4, 2, 5. When we talk about the order of a matrix, this one is usually given by the number of rows multiplied by the number of columns. But we read as, for example, if the rows are A and the columns are B, we read it as order A by B. Order A by B. Therefore, according to the matrix here, we have the first row, the second row. So we have 2 rows. Then the columns now are the first column, the second column here. They are also 2. So it is order 2 by 2. You see, order 2 by 2 is in option A. So A becomes our right answer. We proceed to number 14. Given matrices A equals to 2, 3, 4, 1, and B equals to 1, -1, 2, 0, find part A, matrix A plus matrix B. It's good for you to know that for 2 matrices to be added, they are supposed to be of the same order, and for them to be subtracted, they are also supposed to be of the same order. Something else that you're supposed to understand when interacting with matrices is that when you are adding matrices, you add elements which are in corresponding positions. For instance, when we talk about A plus B, this is going to be 2 plus 1 because they occupy corresponding positions. So 2 plus 1, then 3 plus -1, 3 plus a -1, Then now in the second row, we will have 4 plus 2 at 1 plus 0. 1 plus 0. So the refined matrix now is going to be 3, 2, 6, and 1. And the matrix is supposed to be enclosed into the curled brackets. Therefore, the correct answer at this point is now going to be part A. That way. Number 15, which is from equations of straight lines and gradients. What is the equation of a line? What is the equation of a line passing through 2, 3 with a gradient of 4? With a gradient of 4. We usually say that a gradient is given by change in y over change in x. So we let another coordinate to be xy so that we express our gradient of 4. So a gradient of 4 is given by change in y from the coordinate that we are having to be y minus 3 divided by change in x, which is x minus 2. This one being a whole number is automatically divided by 1. So when we cross multiply, to be y minus 3 equivalent to 4 multiplied by x minus 2. Therefore, we can have y minus 3 equivalent to 4x minus 8. Then now we will have y remaining here. Then for x negative 8, we will have to add negative 3. To add 3, that is, because negative 3 becomes positive. So negative 8 plus 3 becomes negative 5. So the right answer here now will be option B. The B becomes our right answer. Talking about number 16, which says we find the gradient of a line passing through the points 1, 2, and 3, 8. Gradient M is usually given by change in y over change in x. So when we take 8 minus 2, then we divide by 3 minus 1, we will get the gradient. So 8 minus 2 is 6, and 3 minus 1 is 2. This is going to simplify to give us 3. So the right answer now becomes B. Remember, you are not restricted to the coordinates that you will begin with when obtaining gradient. You can even say that a gradient M is given by change in y. You begin with 2 minus 8 divided by 1 minus 3. So this is going to be negative 6, and this is going to be negative 2. The negative will cancel, and we will have a positive 6 over 2. And finally, it will simplify to a gradient of 3. So you see, the answer is just the same, regardless of the coordinate that you begin with. Number 17, solve the inequality. Remember, simple inequalities are solved just like straight lines, and the grouping of terms, the simplification, they all happen the same. Though you're supposed to know that when working out inequalities, you don't replace the inequality symbol with an equal sign. You just proceed with the inequality symbol all through. So 3x, then we take negative 5 to this side, where it will be added. We will have 7 plus 5, whereby this now becomes 12. And to remain with x, 3 has to divide through. So x greater than 4, meaning that the correct answer is part D. Yeah, it means the correct answer is part D. Number 18, a sector of a circle as a radius of 7 centimeters and an angle of 60 degrees. Find its area. So we are talking about a sector of a circle. Area of a sector is given by beta over 360 pi r squared. So this is beta, the angle at the center, over 360 multiplied by pi. We are not limited when it comes to the pi to be chosen. So we choose 22/7 multiplied by the radius, 7, then squared means times 7 again. So when we simplify all this in number 18, we shall get 25.67 square centimeters. Therefore, in number 18, the correct answer will be part C. Look at number 19. Find the length of a side of a square whose diagonal is 10. Whose diagonal is 10. We have a square here, and what has been provided is the diagonal. The diagonal through here is 10 centimeters, but the sides are not given. We know that this part is right angled, being a square anyway. So if the side is x, the other side is also going to be x. The diagonal is giving us a triangle now. Therefore, working with this triangle and Pythagoras theorem, then we would say x squared plus x squared is the same as 10 squared. So when we add here, we get to x squared equivalent to 100. So that x squared equals to 50 after dividing through by 2. To get the value of x, now we are supposed to obtain the second root of 50. And the square root of 50 becomes 7.07 to 2 decimal places. So that is now the correct answer. At number 20, we are saying that a ladder leans against a wall, forming a right angle with a ground. If the wall is 12 meters high and the ladder 13 meters, how far is the base of the ladder from the wall? Let me sketch this information into a diagram, a sketch diagram, just to help us interpret the question well. We are told that this is a ladder, which is 12 meters high. It is forming a right angle with the ground. Then the ladder is if the wall is 13, the wall is 12. So this one is the wall. Let me label well. The wall is 12 meters and the ladder itself is 13 meters. So there is a ladder now which is leaning. This is the ladder, 13 meters. So this is the ladder. How far? So now we need the distance here. We need the distance here. How far is this ladder at the base of the wall? So we need again to apply the Pythagoras theorem, whereby we will say 13 squared minus 12 squared. Then we carry out the square root. And this will give us exactly 5 meters. So the ladder is 5 meters away. Another section here of 80 marks, whereby we are told that section B has 80 marks. Now we have to solve everything again. We've only done 20 marks. So now we get into the section 2. Remember to subscribe. Remember also to invite friends to this broadcast. Yeah, advise them to also share with more friends so that we continue networking and learning together. Number 21. Below is a water tank constructed in the shape of a cube. Determine the volume of the soil that was excavated from the tank to fit exactly. So for the tank, to fit exactly, then some soil had to be evacuated. There is a soil which is equivalent to the tank's volume. So means for us to get volume of that soil, we need volume of the tank, whereby being a cube, we need length times width times height, and they are all equal. So when we cube this, we're going to get 238.328 meters cubed. So that is the volume. In number 22, we have a probability question whereby we are told that a bag contains 3 red marbles and 4 blue marbles. Find the probability of picking a red marble. So for us to find probability, we have to look at possible outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. Total number of outcomes. So possible outcomes or favorable outcomes, sorry. Red marble, remember red are 3. Divide by all possible chances, which are 3 plus 4. So we'll talk about 7. We will talk about 7. So 3/7 is the probability of picking a red marble. Find the probability of picking a blue marble. So to pick a blue marble means we talk of favorable chances are blue, which is 4, and total possible outcomes are 7. So 4 out of 7, that is the probability. In part C, express the probability of picking a red marble as a percentage. As a percentage, we convert 3/7 to a percentage by multiplying by 100, and this is going to be 42.86%. 42.86%. Part D, express the probability of picking a blue marble as a decimal. We already have that probability as 4/7. So ours is to simply divide now 4/7 so that we may get a decimal. So this is going to be 0.5, 0.5714. This is a decimal to 4 significant figures. So that is what we expect. There is a number 23 here. A question on linear equations, but this time around simultaneous equations. Solve the following simultaneous equations by substitution method. The substitution method. So to follow the substitution method, it means we have to express one of the unknowns in terms of the other from one of the equations. And looking at how the variables are, then we can say that in equation 2, this is 1, and this is 2. So from equation 2, it will be easier to express x. So the value of x from 2 is going to be 1 plus y, because we have to take y to the right-hand side where it becomes positive. Now, because we have expressed from equation 2, we have to rewrite equation 1. And now, the place of x, we shall have 1 plus y. So equation 2 rewritten, equation 1 now rewritten, will be 2 instead of x, 1 plus y, then minus y, equivalent to 6. So this is going to be 2 plus 2y minus 7. Okay, that is minus y again, equals to 6. And grouping of terms will give us 2y minus y, which is just y. And 6, we have to subtract 2 there. So it will become a 4. So the value of y is 4. And remember, there is an expression to give us the value of x, whereby x is going to be 1 plus y, and y is a 4. So the value of x is 5. The value of y is 4. So we are done with solving 23. 24. Solve again a linear inequality. -3 less than 2x minus 5. Again, we have to group terms. So we can remain with 2x at this point. We can remain with 2x. 2x, I think I'm interpreting something, 2x there. Then we have less than. Then now 5 will be added here. So -3 plus 5 becomes a +2. You see now this can be divided through by, the value of 2. So that x and 1 are related that way. So 1 is less than x. It is also very important for you to know that if we say 1 is less than x, then this is also the same as x is greater than 1. Those two options are the same. If 1 is less than x, then x is greater than 1. So those two expressions will earn a mark. Number 25. A transport company charges fare, which is 50 Kenya shillings plus 20 Kenya shillings per kilogram. Write an expression for the total fare T in terms of the distance. Now we assume that distance covered is abbreviated small letter d, so that we say the total fare to be used will be given by, there is a constant fare of 50, then there is 20, which varies depending on the kilometers covered. If it is 20 per kilometer, then we can say in a particular journey, d kilometers are covered. So it will be 20 shillings multiplied by d. So that for every kilometer, we charge 20. And now from that, we get the total fare. So this is the expression which will give us the total fare. Remember, any other abbreviation in mathematics can be used to abbreviate distance. Any other abbreviation can be used to represent distance. Look at number 26 now, again on ratios. A family of 3 divides an inheritance of, this is 900,000 Kenya shillings in the ratio 5:3:2. Determine how much each person receives. How much each person receives. So this can be solved in several ways. One, we can first check the total proportions here, whereby the family members are going to divide. It will be 5 plus 3 plus 2. And this is going to give us 10 proportions. So the 10 proportions are equivalent to 900,000 Kenya shillings. In this particular case, we can say one proportion is going to be 900,000 out of 10, which is going to be 90,000. So if we are having 10 proportions to be divided, and the 10 proportions are equivalent to 900,000 Kenya shillings, then each proportion will be, when we divide by 10, so that we may get each. So each proportion is 90,000 Kenya shillings. Look at now the question. Determine how much each person receives. So the first person will receive 5 proportions. Each proportion is 90,000 Kenya shillings. So this person will be having 450,000. The second person is going to receive 3 proportions, and each proportion is 90,000 Kenya shillings, which means he's going to receive 270,000. Then we have another one receiving 2 proportions, and a proportion is equivalent to 90,000. So this is going to receive 180,000 Kenya shillings. So this is the first one, the second one, and the third family member or the third person in this given family. That is how they distribute the inheritance. Number 27, a worker completes the job in 12 hours, while another takes 8 hours. How long will it take them to finish the job altogether? So the first worker is taking 12 hours, which means per hour, this worker is doing a 12th of the work, because by working a 12th of the hour, when you multiply a 12th by 12 hours, he is going to finish the work. Then the second one is taking 8 hours, which means he's only working an eighth of the work. What about when working together? First and second, we take 1/12 and we add 1/8. This is going to give us 1/12 plus 1/8. You get 5 out of 24. 5 out of 24. Therefore, the two people working together now, the first one a 12, the second one a 8, together 5 out of 24. This means they will work 5 out of 24 of the work. So 5 proportions of this work require 1 hour by these two people. What about the total 24 proportions? How long will they take? To be 24 by 1/5. And 24/5 is going to be 4.8 hours. Now, 4.8 hours can also be expressed as 4 hours. Then the 0.8 hours, 0.8 of an hour can be multiplied by 60. So that we get 48 minutes. 48 minutes. So that is the long they shall take when working together. We got a number 28 here. Find the gradient of the line passing through 4,5 and 8,5. Gradient M is going to be given by change in y out of change in x. So we need the y coordinates, 15 minus 5 divided by 8 minus 4. So this is going to be 10/4. This will simplify to 5/2. And this finally will simplify to 2.5, which will also be correct when written as 2.5. So that is the gradient. Remember, I said, and I'm repeating, that when calculating gradient and 2 coordinates have been provided, when it comes to subtraction, you can begin with any coordinate minus the other. This is what I mean. In this working, alternatively, we can begin by taking change in y as 5 minus 15. Then 4 minus 8. You see, at the end of the day, we will have -10 out of -4. And this will mean negatives will cancel. 10/4 is going to be 2.5, equivalent to what we had written previously. So that is how we're supposed to work out a question like that. We are now at number 29. This is a question on statistics, representation of data on a peer chart. The peer chart below shows the number of books sold by a bookseller. The total number of books was 720. We can see now the pie chart. Mathematics, 150 degrees. Science, 70 degrees. English, 100. And Kiswahili, 40. How many books were sold? How many English books were sold? So the total angles in a pie chart is usually 300, and the angle at the center is 360. Then 360 is now split into different proportions. So the proportion which represents English is just 100 out of 360. degrees. Then this one should be multiplied by the total books, 720. So we get 200 English books that way. How many more science books than Kiswahili books were sold? This one can be done very quickly by saying that for us to work out how many more science books than Kiswahili books, we can calculate each type of books. Science are going to take a proportion equivalent to 70 over 360 times 720. This will give us 140 science books. Then Kiswahili is going to have a proportion which is equivalent to 40. So 40 over 360 multiplied by 720. This is going to give us 80 books. Therefore, how many more science books than Kiswahili books? This means now the difference. So we have to take 140, we subtract 80, and we get 60 books. Just direct 60 books. Alternatively, we can even check the difference in the proportions. When we compare Kiswahili and science, you discover that science is 70 degrees, Kiswahili is 40 degrees. So the difference is 70 and 40. We have 30 degrees. So we have a difference of 30 degrees. And the difference in degrees will also represent the difference in the number proportionally. So 30 out of 360 multiplied by 720 books will give us directly 60 books. So the difference of 60 books can also be calculated that. What is the total number of math books sold? Mathematics is having a proportion of 150. So when we take 150 out of total proportions 360 multiplied by 720, we are going to get 300 books. 300 mathematics books. 300 mathematics books. At number 30 now, Cecilia received 30,000 Kenya shillings as commission after selling a plot for 600,000 Kenya shillings. What percentage commission was she given? What percentage commission was she given? What percentage commission was she given? So the sale of the plot gave 600,000. 600,000. And we are supposed to know that commission is usually a percentage. Commission is usually a percentage of the sales made. Therefore, with that knowledge, this commission can be expressed as a percentage of the sales, whereby it will be 30,000 divided by 600,000. Then we make it a percentage. And this is exactly going to be 5%. Yeah, 5%. Number 31 now. Find the value of the angles marked with letters. We can first of all fill the angles in this figure and just fill them. Therefore, with 130 here, we can say that the angle at M is also 130. Reason being, these are vertically opposite angles. And we know that vertically opposite angles are usually equal. Then another angle that we're supposed to know is the angle at N. The angle at N is also going to be 130 degrees. Reason being, this angle is alternate. We call them alternate angles. Alternate angles. So angle M and angle N are alternate. Then finally, we can talk about the angle at P. The angle at P is going to exactly be 180 minus 130, giving us 50 degrees. So the angle there is going to be 50 degrees. This is because N and P are on a straight line, and we are already having N as 130. So P automatically becomes 150. Else, we can also say that angle M and P, the angles M and P, remember, this is already 130. So M and P, they are said to be cointerior angles, or rather, allied angles. So allied angles are usually supplementary. They add up to 180. So again, the value of P will also be confirmed to be 50 degrees because we need to take 180 again minus 130. So we are getting 130 at this point, 130 at this point, 50 at this point. So that is it. Calculate the surface area in number 32 of the cone drawn below. The cone drawn below. So now we can talk about a surface area of a cone, and I'm assuming that it is a solid cone, in which case, apart from the curved surface, we also add the circular base. So surface area of a cone now is going to be given by the curved surface, which is given by pi r L. Then we add the circular base, which will be given by pi r squared, being a circle. So from the first option, we will have 22 over 7 times 7 multiplied by a slanting height. L is slanting height of 28. So this is first going to give us 616 square centimeters. Then we talk about the other one, 22 over 7 by 7 by 7, giving us 154 square centimeters. Then total surface area now will be 616. Then we add 154. Then this is going to give us 770 square centimeters. 770 square centimeters. 33. Sabina borrowed 800,000 Kenya shillings from a bank at a compound interest rate of 8% per annum for 3 years. Then the question goes, find the compound interest earned on the loan. So for us to get compound interest, for the first year, this person is borrowing 800,000 times a rate of 8% multiplied by this particular year. And this is going to give us 6400. That is the interest earned. But now in the second year, the principal now changed. When we take 800,000, we are supposed to add the 64,000. So that now the interest in the first year plus the original principal, now they are combined so that they may earn interest together because of compound interest. So it will be now 864,000 multiplied by the same rate times 1 year. This is going to give us 69,120. 69,120. Then finally, in the third year, we shall have again the interest that we have earned in the second year, which is 69,120, being added to 864,000 so that they may earn interest together. So the new principal now becomes 933,120 at the rate of 20% multiplied by 1. So when we multiply by 8 over 100, now we're going to get 649.60. Then now here we can talk about the total interest which will have been earned. So the total is going to be 207,769.60 Kenya shillings. So that is the amount of interest which will have been earned for the 3 years of compound interest. Number 34. No, in number 34, because of space here and lack of some instruments, we can use a sketch. So let me just illustrate what is expected of learners in this question. Construct a trapezium ABCD with AB parallel to DC. Then the length AB equals to 10 centimeters, BC equals to 5 centimeters, CD equals to 4 centimeters, and the angle at B, because it's ABC, equals to 47 degrees. Then measure the length of AD. Measure the length of AD. So here we expect length of 10. I'm just doing a sketch. So from A to B, this is 10 centimeters. Then now at B, we will measure our angle of 47, then produce a line. So the angle of 47, then we produce a line that way. And along this line, using an arc of 5 centimeters, we will measure 5 centimeters. So what we have here is C, 5 centimeters. Then now, remember we measured an angle of 47 here. Okay, I know there are many methods you can use to proceed, but now with 47 there, you can even stand at C and you measure another 47. This way, you measure it at this point. You measure a 47 at this position. This one, let me indicate it very well for you. You measure another 47 here. Now, when you measure 47 degrees there, and there is a 47 degrees there, the line you are having here is going to be very parallel to the one you are having here. Those are parallel lines. But now you will have to stand at C and to measure 4 centimeters. You measure 4 centimeters and you make an arc. Then now you can connect A to that point. You can connect A to that point, and this is going to be our point D. Therefore, we have our trapezium. Though this is a sketch, you can apply in the exact measurements now. So you can repeat, but using the exact measurements. 35, we are back to statistics again. The following marks were obtained by 12 learners in an assessment. The marks are listed there. Part A, find the median. Median mark is the mark which will be at the middle position when the data is arranged. When the data is arranged in ascending order. Ascending order means we start with the least mark, which is 9. Then we go to the next, which is 11, but 11s are 2. So 11, but 11s are 2, that way. Then we go to the next after 11, which is 12, and 12s are 4. 12s are 4, that way. Then after 12s, we go to 13, and 13s are 3. 13s are 3. Then after this, we go to 14, and 14s are 2. So 14, 14. I think that's all. Yeah. So those are the marks now. We have displayed them. After that, we have to identify the value at the middle. So to identify the value at the middle, you are going to cut the first one, then you cut the last one. That way, you narrow down until you find the value at the middle. The value at the middle position. So I'm having 12 and 12. They are both at the center. So 12 and 12, assuming that they were two different values at the middle, we would have obtained their average. So we have to take 12 plus 12 over 2. 12 plus 12 out of 2, which is just 12. So I have to work out that average so that learners may not think that I'm just picking a 12. I have found the average of the values at the middle, only that by coincidence, they are equal. But now given another set of data whereby the values are not exactly the same, then you have to calculate the average of the two, of the two values that way. So we get 12. The other thing is find the model mark. Now, model mark is the one which has occurred more times. Looking at all the values, it is only 12 which has occurred 4 times. The others is 3, twice, or even once. So 12 becomes the model mark because it is the mark which is occurring more times. Then to calculate mean, now mean means sum out of the number of terms. So when we add everything, we shall get 146. We add all the marks, we get 146. Then after getting 146, now we say this one will be divided by 12 students or 12 learners. So this will be 12.17. That is what it means by the mean mark. We add everything, 9 plus 11 plus 11 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13, then plus 14 plus 14. We get 146. Then this has to be divided by 12 to give us 12.17. 12.17. Look at number 36, which is on area. A conical tent has a base radius of 3.5 meters and a slant height of 6 meters. Calculate the curved surface area of the tent. So curved surface area of a conical shape is given by pi r L. In this case, L is the slanting edge. 22/7 the pi, a radius of 3.5 multiplied by a slanting height of 6. So this is going to give us a curved surface of exactly 66 square meters. Then now we have to progress on this side, whereby we will say, if the tent in part B is made of waterproof material costing 120 Kenya shillings per square meter, find the total cost of the material used. So the material used is costing 120 per square meter, and we are going to cover 66 square meters. So this will give us a total of 7,000 Kenya shillings, 920. 7,920. Part C, if the circular base is also covered, what is the total surface area? So the circular base, the area will be pi r squared. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So if the area is pi r squared, we expect 22/7 to be multiplied by 3.5 times again 3.5, and this will give us 38.5. So that we may talk of total surface area, which will be 38.5 plus 66, which is the area of the curved surface, 104.5 square meters. So that is the total surface area. 37. A rectangular garden measures 18 meters by 12 meters. It is drawn on a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 3 meters. Part A, what are the dimensions of the garden in the scale drawing? So in a scale whereby 1 centimeter represents 3, then 12 centimeters will be represented by 4 centimeters, and 18 meters will be represented by 6 centimeters. Therefore, it will measure, the drawing will measure 4 centimeter by 6 centimeter. So that is the measurement of the drawing according to the scale which has been used. If a fence is built around the garden, what is its actual perimeter? Mark the word actual. So we are not going now to use the scale dimensions in part A. We shall calculate actual perimeter. Actual means the distances on the ground are the ones to be used. So perimeter of a rectangular place will be given by 2 length plus width. So we expect 2, a length of 18 at a width of 12. When you add, you get 30 times 2, 60 meters. So that is the length. Again, find the actual area of the garden. So for us to get area, we need length times width because it's rectangular. So 18 by 12, and this is going to give us exactly 216 square meters. So that is the actual area. In our number 38, number 38, we are talking about 4 business partners, A, B, C, and D, who invest in a business in the ratio 3:4:5:6. The business makes a total profit of 7,200,000 Kenya shillings. Part A, how much profit does each partner receive? How much profit does each partner receive? The total proportions here are 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. That will give us 18. So we have 18 proportions. They are equivalent to a profit of 72,000. Now that 72,000, 7,200,000 Kenya shillings are represented by 18 proportions. What about one proportion? So each proportion will have, when we divide this by 18, each proportion is going to have, let me divide this. When we take 72, we divide by 18, I'm getting 400,000 proportions. So each proportion is 400,000. So the first partner, who is A in this business, will receive 3 proportions, and 1 proportion goes for 400,000. So this will be 200,000. Then B is going to receive 4 proportions. A proportion goes for 400,000. Therefore, this is going to be 1,600,000. Then C receives 5 proportions, and a proportion goes for 400. Therefore, this is 2 million. And finally, we have partner D, who receives 6 proportions, and a proportion is 400,000. This is going to be 2.4 million that way. So that is the amounts received by each partner at the end of the business period. Part B, if partner A reinvests his share in an annual interest rate of 8%, how much will it be after 2 years? Now, assuming that it was a simple interest, assuming that it was simple interest at a rate of 8, then partner A, who received 1.2 million, will get interest. Interest is given by, that is simple interest, is given by principal times rate, which is a percentage, times period of 2 years. And this is going to give us a 192,000. So how much is this amount going to be? If he has earned interest of, and he has invested 1.2 million, how much is the amount going to be? How much is this person going to have at the end of the trading period of 2 years? So it will be 1392,000. 1392,000 Kenya shillings. So that is what partner A is going to be having after a period of 2 years. Then we check part C now. If the profit next year is expected to increase by 25%, what will be the new total profit? To increase by 25 means it becomes 125% of what we are having now. And you know, we are having 7.2 million. So it will be, yeah, we multiply that now. 7.2 million, 125%. So the new profit is expected to be 9 million, sorry. 9 million. Again, we can work this one alternatively. 25% increment on 7.2 million is going to give us the alternative working now. So 25% on 7.2 million, we expect an increase of 1.8 million. 1.8 million, which I can write fully that way. So the new, because it has increased now to be 1.8 plus 7.2, which is still taking us to 9 million. Yeah, taking us back to 9 million. So it is still correct. At number 39, we get back to probability once again, whereby we are told that a bag contains 5 red balls, 7 blue balls, 3 green balls. A ball is drawn randomly. Part A, what is the probability of drawing a red ball? So to pick a red ball, that's now the favorable outcome that we need. They are 5. Out of the total number of balls contained here, which are 15. So this is the probability of picking a red ball. It is good for you to know that if this probability is simplified, it will still be correct. So simplifying 5/15 takes us to 1 out of 3. The 1 out of 3, that is it. Then we have a part B now of the same question. If a blue ball is drawn and not replaced, what is the probability of drawing another blue ball? So if we pick a blue, remember they are initially, the blue balls are initially 7. So they become 6. Blue becomes 6 now after picking 1, and we are not replacing. And total has changed. Because we have picked 1 and we have not replaced, the total has changed from 15 to 14. Therefore, probability of picking blue for the second time will be 6 over a new total whereby this is 3/7. Remember, probability can still be expressed as a percentage, as a decimal, or remain being a fraction. So that is it, 3/7. In part C, what is the probability of drawing a red or a green ball? So drawing red, remember the red ones are, let me check. The red ones are 5/15. And the green ones, green balls are 3/15. 3/15. Therefore, I'm getting simplified fractions of a fifth, a third, and a fifth, giving us 8/15. So that is the probability of picking red or green. These are called mutually independent events. Any can happen. Any can happen. In number 40, which is our last question now, a bar graph shows the production of maize 400 tons, wheat 320 tons, and rice 200 tons, then barley 180 tons on a farm. Part A, draw the bar graph to represent this information. This information is having 400 tons of wheat, of maize, then wheat 320, rice 200, then we have barley 180. We draw a bar graph. Something that must be known about bar graphs is that in a bar graph, we draw bars represent the quantities. And something else that you're supposed to know is that in a bar graph, the bars are usually spaced. They are never in contact. So we are supposed to space the bars in a bar graph. According to the values that we are having, we have seen that the highest crop or the highest production is on maize, and that is 400 tons. So guided by that, we can use intervals. We can use intervals of 50, or rather the scale on the vertical axis. So the crops masses will be on the vertical axis, whereby from 0, we can have 50 tons, 100 tons, 150 tons, 200 tons. Then we proceed to 250 tons, 300 tons, 350 tons, 400 tons. We can have 450. Yeah, such a scale. But now on the horizontal axis, we shall have the crops written there. So the first bar, which is going to be drawn here, is going to represent maize, and it should go up to a height of 400. So up to a height of 400, actually I can use some different ink for these bars. Let me choose red. So a height of 400. Now we draw. We draw it very well. So we need to draw this graph in a decent manner. So the first bar will be here. Remember, the bars are supposed to be having equal width, and the bars are supposed to be equally spaced. Equally spaced. So that is the first bar. Then the second bar is going to represent 320 tons of wheat. 320. So from 300, we just go up there by 2 small squares. So that will represent 320. Then we draw our bar. Draw our bar. That way. That is the second bar for wheat. Then rice 200. Rice 200. We skip again an equal space so that we may have 200 for rice. So that is 200 for rice. Then again, we are having 120 tons for barley. So 120 for barley, we skip a space. Then 120 will be found here. 120 for barley. That way. So we have now the 4 bars for the 4 types of crops, whereby the first one is representing maize. The second one, wheat. The third one is representing rice. The last one is representing barley. So now we have the bars here representing the crops which were produced. So that is how you are supposed to draw this graph, which we call a bar graph. And after that, we are asked to give which crop had the highest production. Automatically, maize. Looking at the bar graph, maize is having the longest bar to represent it. Then in the part B, if maize production increased by 15%, what would be the new production? So increasing by 15% means it becomes 115% of what it was originally. And originally it's at 400. So we expect it now to shoot up to 460 tons. 460 tons. Then we have a part C, which says, find the total production. Find. All right. You know, in part B, we are told if maize production increased by 15%, what would be the new production? 460 tons. Then in part C, find the total production of all crops before and after the increase in maize. So before maize increased, we add production, which was 400, 320, 200, then 180. That way. And this total is going to be 1,100 tons. That's the total production. Then after maize has increased, we will have 460 instead, plus 320, plus 200, plus 180. Remember, maize has increased, but the other crops have remained how they were. So this is 1,160 tons. This will be the new production. Yeah, the new production. I think there is somewhere. Yeah. So that is it. That is how we were supposed to approach this paper. Everything is done. You can share and subscribe. See you in another lesson. Thank you so much.